Hey everyone, welcome to the Artistic Box. I'm so glad you are here with me today. We are going to have a lot of fun, and if you've never done one of these before, well then get ready. You're going to love it. So the only rule I have is do not stress, do not worry, just have fun. And if you come upon something that's messed up or you make a mistake, it's okay. We can fix it, or you can just cover over it with some watercolor. So let's get ready and get started. You should have your palette in your box and then your 3 different colors. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use all of these colors to combine together and create new shades. And I want everyone to go ahead and just put a little bit of each color in the holes in your palette, okay? So you'll have white and then kind of a dark brown that's burnt umber, and then a lighter brown like a burnt sienna color. And then you'll have your brush, and you'll have a cup, and so you'll need to fill up your cup about halfway full of water, and then a paper towel to dab your paintbrush dry, okay? And this is an 8x10 piece of watercolor paper, so it's real thick and tough, so it will not bleed through. And if you want to see what we're going to do today, if you don't know yet, we are going to create this painting, okay? I figured that we would kind of do something kind of cool and do like a southwestern theme of watercolor picture. So that's the painting we're going to do, and we're going to create canyons, and maybe you can hang this up on your wall one day. Okay, so go ahead and dip your brush in some water. The key about watercolor paint is you always want your brush to be wet and you want there to be water in your watercolor. So I'm just taking my brush, getting some water on it, and I'm adding a little bit of water to each pod, okay? We really want our paint to be wet. So dip your brush in a little bit of water, and if you can kind of see, I'm just stirring it together, making it a little bit wet. Okay, and then rinse it off in between colors. You want to make sure you don't ever have a color on there with white. The white's the only one that you don't want to mix another color with. You want it to stay pure white. All right, so now that we have all of our colors ready to start watercoloring, we are going to start first with an outline of all of your canyons and where your river's going to go. So you'll take your paintbrush and dip it in that like really light color brown, the reddish brown, and we're going to put some of this in a little pod and then a little bit of white. Because what we're going to do is we're going to create a really soft color for our outline. You know why we're going to do that? Because in case you mess up, it's much easier to cover up a light color than it is a dark color. So if at any time if you're like, oh no, I put that in the wrong spot, all you need to do is take your paper towel, get it wet, and then dab that area off, okay? It's kind of like you're going to use your paper towel as an eraser. So what we're going to do is we're going to start first up here at the top right corner, and we're going to create our canyon, okay? So you're just going to come down, and you're creating a canyon, okay? And you're going to want to come all the way halfway across the picture, just like that, all right? And that'll be our first canyon, okay? Kind of this whole area, we'll fill that in later. All right, we're just doing our outline right now, so don't worry. We'll come back and fill all this in. Then our next area is gonna be a lower canyon right below it, okay? And we'll come over here, and about halfway up your paper, you'll do a little steep hill right here, and it kind of goes down, out, and it meets that one, okay? So that one's gonna come further out, and then it'll kind of come back towards the side, okay? And then we're gonna create our other canyon on this side over here, and this is kind of a lower one, okay? So we're gonna have it meet right here where it comes on this side. On the left side, okay, you got that so far? And then you're gonna come up with a little hill right there, got it? And then come down, okay, and that's gonna be this canyon is going to kind of come out in the river. All right, it kind of jets out a little bit. Okay. I know it looks a little odd so far, but it's okay. This is just the process of painting. All right, so now that's our first canyon. So that's our first one. This is our second one, and this is our third, okay? And then we're gonna have one right here in the center. So it'll kind of come out from this one, all right? And it has like a sharp top and a few little pieces that jet out. And then it's gonna go down and out, okay? So it kind of comes back. Kind of comes all the way back to this one. All right. So if you can kind of see, there's going to be one here, one over here, one here, and then one there. All right. And then our very last line that we're going to make is going to be our actual river. Like we're going to outline it. So we'll have kind of the river bed right here starting, and it outlines this one, and then it kind of comes down and comes out like that, okay? And then it circles back around. So all of this will be riverbed, all right? Okay, so if yours looks like a bunch of squiggly lines, it's okay, mine does too. All we wanted to do so far was outline, okay? Outline all of our items in here. It'll make it easier later on. So at the very top, we're gonna just do a really thin, light circle, okay, for our moon. So a really thin, light circle right in the center of your picture. Okay. Maybe yours will look more like a moon than mine. Okay, I find it's easier with circles if you just keep on going around and around and around, and eventually your hand almost trying to make the perfect circle. Okay? All right, so now we're gonna do the fun part. Now we have to actually start painting and filling in all of these weird looking lines. So I want you to get your brush wet in some water, okay? And then we're gonna start first with this really dark one. So it's gonna be some of that reddish brown, the reddish brown color, and you're gonna mix it with the darkest brown, okay? And so you'll get kind of a mixed color that's not as dark as that darkest brown, but it's darker than the lightest brown. Okay, so it looks kind of like that shade. And now we're gonna come down here and we're gonna fill in this whole area. So your brush should be wet, your paint should be wet, and you are filling in this whole entire canyon right here with a dark brown shade, okay? All right, so fill all of that in. And I'm painting downward with downward strokes, okay? And the cool part is that you're not having to really do anything besides add water. So just keep on filling in that whole first canyon that we did, and you're just adding water. If you feel like your brush is kind of drying up, dip it in some more water, okay? If your paint's not going on smooth, it just means you need to add a little bit more water. All right, so fill that whole area in. Okay, that whole first canyon. All right. Okay, it's almost done. Okay, so can we start just trying to see our canyon a little bit better? I'm gonna just smooth out my lines. So smooth out your lines, smooth out your outline. All right. Okay. Okay, so that's our first one. And once we finish our first canyon, now you've got this. Okay, the hardest part was really just doing the outline. From here on out, it's just filling in color and having fun. So we're gonna do our next canyon, and it's gonna be this one right here, okay? And this one is a little bit lighter. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that reddish brown shade, okay? Get some of that reddish brown color. And we're gonna do this with a little bit of white and some water, okay? So the reddish brown, some white, and a little bit of water, okay? And now we're gonna fill this one in, right here. Right. So if you can kind of tell, it's just a shade lighter, okay? And you're gonna fill that one in all the way down, okay? And remember, if you come across something that you don't like, all you need to do is take your paper towel, get some water on it, and then dab it dry on the color that you don't want. Okay, the paper towel will soak it up and it should absorb most of it. So we're gonna fill this whole section in, okay? Just like that. You're really just painting that whole entire section and having the colors mixed in of white, that light brown, and water, okay? I feel like there's something a little bit calming about watercolor. Maybe you're not thinking that, or maybe you are. Either way, I hope you're enjoying it. Okay. So now we have our second canyon, okay? And it should be a shade lighter than this one. And it's lighter because I did not add any of that dark brown. I just did that reddish brown and white, okay? So let me outline it really good. All right. Start all the way to the top. Okay, so now we have our second one. All right, what we're gonna do next is we are going to take the other side right here on this side, and we're gonna use that same color. So that's easy. So we're just gonna use more of that reddish brown, some of the white, and water, okay? And we're gonna fill in this whole side right here. Okay. All right, so you're just gonna fill it in. My brush needs more water on there. You can start to tell if it like doesn't glide on really smooth. So take your brush and keep adding water and slide it on really smooth. Okay. So you don't have to be an artist to be able to paint. You just gotta have paint, and then you can do it. Okay, so fill that whole section in. If you can see, I just keep on dipping my brush in the color, and then my brush in the water. That keeps everything kind of like melding together. And so you don't get really lined, you just kind of get everything mixing together. Okay. All right, so there's our second. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're starting to have canyons. Are you starting to see them? Do they look a little bit more like a picture instead of some weird squiggles? Okay. So we're gonna make this all filled in. You don't want to leave any white spaces, okay? No white spots. Okay, now we're gonna take that really dark color. We're just gonna get just the dark brown on our brush. Okay, so it's that solid dark brown. Because we do want a contrast in here. We don't want all these shades to be exactly the same. So now we're gonna get some dark brown, okay? Get a little bit of water and some dark brown, mix them together. And then do you see this little tiny one right here? We're gonna paint that one right in the center. Okay, so we're gonna fill it in right here. And it goes all the way, it's this one right here, okay? It's right in between both canyons on the side. Okay, and you're gonna fill it in solid brown. Okay. You can go right up against this color. Alright. So fill it in really solid. No white spots at all. Okay. All right. Now that we have that, our middle canyon filled in. Okay. All right, so now we have our middle canyon filled in. Now our last step for the bottom part of the picture is going to create like our sandy area. Okay, kind of where the river is made like a little sandy beach. So we want this to be the lightest shade. So we want it really, really, really light. So we're gonna get white and we're gonna mix in a little bit of white with that light red brown, okay? That really soft, gentle shade of reddish brown. And we're gonna mix it in with our white. And if you can see, that's my shade. It's kind of like a pale, here I'll hold this up, like a pale, 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 pale shade of like a blush color, okay? And you're gonna go all along right here and we're gonna fill it in. So get some water on your brush and we are filling this whole area in with that pale shade of sand, okay? Kind of like a desert sand color, okay? So fill all of it in. And even up here too, we're gonna make a little sandy area up here. Okay. So fill that whole area in. Alright, now you have the whole white spot, all those white spots filled in on there. Okay, so we have our beach area, our river is right here. Our river is going to be left white, okay? The hardest part about watercolor is whenever you want to get white, you can't just, you have to just leave it like that. It's really hard to get pure white back. So we'll leave it just like that. And our last step we're gonna do, if you can believe it, we are almost finished with the painting our whole picture. Our last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cover this entire background on the top with that really, really pale paint, kind of like the same color as the sand, but a shade lighter. So how we're gonna get that shade is we're gonna just dip some water and we're gonna make it real thin, just like that. So you'll still have that white shade mixed in with that light pale brown, but then you're having water make it lighter, okay? So you want the sky to be the lightest shade. And I'm just going side to side, okay? So side to side all over, and I'm gonna fill it in every bit. I'll go right until our moon, okay? Okay, so fill all of that in and keep on getting water on your brush so the paint is never very dark and never very thick. You want it to be super watery on this die. And then go all the way to the sides. Okay. And meet both canyons, the lines of both canyons. Okay, if you want to mix in, like see how that, you can see the circle? You can kind of take your brush right there and just like smoosh it in, and it softens the lines. Mixing in all that water, and there we go. Okay, we're almost finished. Wow, do you feel like an artist right now? You should, okay, because you've now managed to paint an entire picture. And hopefully now you have something new to hang on your wall. All you need is your signature at the bottom and a frame if you want to put it in a frame. Okay. All right, so I hope you enjoyed today's class so much. I know I did. And if you want to do more projects and maybe watercolor was not your thing, we have dirty pours, we have palette knife painting, all sorts of fun things. So if you would like to be a subscriber, you can get an art box delivered to you monthly, or you can just go check out our other art kits online. So thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you had a wonderful time.